Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. Again, I am Kaylee Batesman, the content director at SheCanCode, and today we are discussing building blocks of support, navigating parenthood at the Lego Group. Today we're going to dive into the experiences of a dedicated working parent, navigating the intricate balance of career and family life. I've got the amazing Jess from the Lego Group with me today, and she's going to share her journey of parenthood whilst being part of a supportive workplace environment. Welcome, Jess. Lovely to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
We're going to kick off with a bit of background about you, if that's okay. We have so much to cover off today, but we'd love to hear a little bit about you, what you do at Lego, and your route into tech, if that's okay.
Sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Jess. I was born in Beijing in China. And when I was little, I came to Denmark with my parents. And from there, I've been back and forth between China and Denmark during my childhood, during the education, and also professional life with a short exchange semester to the US. My background is not at all in tech. My background is in business and international trade. And I got my first job in tech almost 10 years ago, where I made a major shift from back then. I was working at the foreign ministerium in Denmark. So yeah. And 2 years ago, I had the pleasure of joining the Lego Group as a technical program manager, based here in Copenhagen, where I live with my family in a cozy house with our 3 kids. And yeah, crazy weather as it sometimes is.
Yeah. And so
Um,
10 years ago, you fell into tech. What happened at that point? Did somebody point you in the direction of tech, or did you know somebody else that
yes.
was doing it?
Actually, it was a friend of mine, and at a previous get together, we had a talk about, I was back then working with communications, and I didn't really felt that was my call, as you can say. I felt that I was coordinating a lot between A, B, C, and D, but at the end of the day, I wasn't able to distill any knowledge of my own. And so I have aired that to him. And then a few months later, he pinged me and said, "Hey, Jess, take a look at this job posting. I think we could really use someone like you on our team." And I remember I opened the link, and in the header, there were 6 words. I had to look up 3 of them because I simply didn't know what that meant. So that was really, yeah, a steep learning curve. Luckily, I got the job. I have no idea, I mean, how I got it. It was more like an entry-level job. So I hope that they saw the potential in me, and
Yeah.
not only what I have been able to accumulate tech-wise. So yeah.
So many of our ladies say that, and it's always lovely to hear that somebody pointed you in that direction. And I've heard that several times. I opened the job application and I thought, oh, is this
Mhm.
really for
Yes.
me? And then ladies end up in the tech industry, and that's so lovely to hear that you don't always have to have a clear path in. And it's always inspiring for our community to hear that you can make that switch at any point, and not feel like you have to have a computer science degree to come in or anything like that. Yes, we love it when our ladies share those types of stories.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit today about being a parent and how you navigate work-life balance. You mentioned that you have lots of children. Is it true that you have 3 under 4? Is that correct?
Under 5 now. Yeah.
Under 5. Okay.
So, the oldest is 4.5, and then we have a little sister slash big sister who's 2, almost 3, and then we have a little brother who has just turned 1 this Easter.
Oh, lovely. Well, we're going to talk about how you manage to juggle having 3 children under 5 and a work-life balance with an amazing career at Lego as well. So I wanted to kick off with, as a parent, how do you prioritize self-care and maintain a healthy work-life balance amidst the demands of both your career and family life?
I think it starts a bit mentally with taking off that burden of the constant bad conscience that you may feel in both settings. That already lights it up a lot. I think just the weight of it, right? If you keep thinking of that, I try to be present where I am, both in the work setting and also when I'm with my family, try to be present and not think of anything else. And I think we have an amazing supportive system, both in terms of the workplace, but also we have the grandparents close by, which is really, yeah, a lucky place to be, who can step in as well. And also, I believe the Danish society in general is also quite supportive in terms of childcare subsidies and yeah, all these things. So I think it's a combination of many factors that we can actually keep this balance. And for me, I mean, the time with smaller, younger children is also just a phase and it goes by so fast. I can already see that when I look at my oldest, who someone please pause because time flies and really need to enjoy them and the time together with them while they're still this young.
Yes.
And that takes away the thought of, oh, this is really hard work and so much laundry to do all the time, all days a week. And yeah, I think that's a like combination.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like a lot to juggle with a career, and it sounds like you have a really good network. And that, as you said, you started off saying that actually a lot of that is mentally where the space is not always the logistics of where everybody is meant to be at what time, but just mentally being present when you're at work or when you're being mum, and kind of keeping those separate and juggling both.
Yes. And I always say we because me and my partner were in this together. We are really equal, during all the house chores and picking up the kids and bringing them. And we're working now, we are tackling into the mental load part as well together in our partnership,
Yeah.
which I think is really exciting as well. Also for me to realize, like when you offload, how much you're actually were carrying around mentally. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, having somebody to share that with, somebody, the only other person that will understand what
Yeah,
you're balancing.
exactly.
Can you share with us your initial reactions upon discovering the level of support available for parents at the Lego group during your maternity and parental leave in 2023? The Lego group offer a pretty good package, don't they, and a good support system. So what was that like when you found that out?
So when I mentioned to my manager the first time, my manager immediately said, "Oh, great, and congratulations! And you really were met with this heartfelt, joy, shared joy." And then apparently on the what is that called, like the intranet of the company, we have a whole lot of support. We have actually. A person, like a position work called the baby advisor, who is part of an HR organization, who knows all the things about the legislative side of things and also can support you prior to, during, and after your leave. and also going into, being a caretaker and working out that work-life balance. And also, and this is like a fun fact for people not at the Lego group, we also have something called the brick mate, who is someone taking care of you when you're just entering the Lego group in a new position, let's say, taking care of you, who is not your immediate manager, who's also not part of the HR organization, but someone who volunteered to become your brickmate, showing you around and linking you up socially with other colleagues as well. And when you return from leave, you can choose to get a baby brickmate assigned.
Wow.
So in case, after leave, you forgot which floor you're working on, or forgetting passwords, it's a thing that normally always happens. Then yeah, there's also someone there for you. And this baby brickmate oftentimes have gone through maternity or paternity leave him or herself, and yeah, can share some of their experience with you as well. So I really felt all my needs were met. Also because I was not a first-time mother, so there have been some questions which I think this system will definitely also have beneficial for first-time parents when they enter into this crazy journey. Yeah, with all the questions they might have.
Yeah, especially within a bigger company as well, that I suppose it could be quite easy to come back and feel like, you're quite lost within that company, that you're trying to find your feet again and trying to get back into the rhythm of things. And within a larger company, that's harder as well to get back into that routine for you. But to have somebody there dedicated for that, I mean, that's amazing. That's that they really obviously grab hold of good talent and think, you know what, there's only one way that we're going to be able to keep good talent, and that's to make sure that they feel very supported when they come back.
Yes, and actually, I also found out that for our Billund colleagues, because we have higher concentration of colleagues in Jutland, in Denmark, the baby advice also sets up these parent groups. So for people with the due date around the same period of time, they will match them together so that they can also meet during their leaves if they want to. Of course, it's completely voluntary to take part in. And we were fairly new back then in Copenhagen. So the office in Copenhagen wasn't that big, and it's only around digital. But we sent in a suggestion to say, hey, why don't we have this in the greater Copenhagen area? And they were very supportive and said, yeah, what a great idea. Let's do something. And so we did. We set up like a group of colleagues. In the beginning, there weren't many, but I think now that we've also expanded in Copenhagen, we there will be more at the same time, right? It's also a timing thing.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good idea, to match people with other people. And as you said, as you grow as well, you might not know that there are other colleagues that are about to go on mat leave or return. That's a really good idea to at least pair you up so you can stay in contact and share your experiences. And like you said, especially if you're a first-time parent as well, that would be really helpful to have somebody that is also in the same company as you as well, see their experiences. That's a great idea. Can you share any memorable moments or challenges that you've encountered whilst balancing your career at the Lego Group with raising 3 young children?
I think it would be a lie if I said, nope, there aren't any challenges
Could
balancing.
you pick one challenge out
Yes.
of all of them?
So, I'm a fairly social person. And prior to having kids, I was the type of colleague who attended all sorts of gatherings and this party committee or that initiative we started around like a creative workshop and stuff like this. And now becoming a mother, I became a bit more economically thinking about my time, like where to put it and which networks and which subgroups at work do I really, really want to be part of, and which ones you might need to skip because you cannot involve to the same extent as I could before. And so there has been a slight challenge, and this is maybe more from my fear of missing out side, um, that most often workplaces, and this is not just the Lego group, they have, after work socials in that time. And so the wolf hour in Danish terms is the afternoon time where your kids are coming back from the kindergarten, and they're tired, they may be hungry, and you have to juggle cooking with them not having two big conflicts among themselves, and also you're also tired because you just came back home from work, right? And until they are sent to bed, I think that has been a challenge to be there during the wolf hour, like in the family setting, and also be able to maybe attend just a few of those after work socials. And it's on both sides, both me and my partner work. And so we raised this to the Copenhagen Office Council and said, can't we make this a bit more inclusive also for our working parents with young kids at home? And so they were very open to hear our suggestions and how we can um, sort of make this concept of after hour social, and maybe it could be more like a weekend social, or it could be even later in the evening. So we brainstormed a lot of good ideas, and now we're having a few events targeting our working parents. Of course, other colleagues are also very welcome to join, um, planned at around the wolf hour time, right? So that we can accommodate that, and also several events where you're able to bring your kids to work, because the Lego group is an awesome workplace, and we have bricks everywhere and
Yeah, it's the
toys
best
for
place
them.
to invite a
Yes,
child for the day.
to play, right? So it's also cool to be able to show the kids this is mom's workplace or dad's workplace. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that, inviting a child into Lego for the day, especially when they have those days, that bring your child to work day. You can
Mm.
imagine children at school saying, "Oh, my parent works at Lego, and I'm going to Lego for the day." You always hear of those children that have gone to boring workplaces, and you think, "Oh, didn't have a very good week." But yeah,
Yeah.
would love to go to Lego.
But it's even, I mean, we are in an office setting. I think it might be even cooler if we were working, if there was a factory, where the bricks are
Mm.
actually being molded and produced. We also have that on the Lego group level. We have something called family days where you can bring your immediate family to, and there are shuttle buses around the various sites, and where you actually get to go inside the factory and show them this is actually where the Christmas present came from, or yeah, the
Oh
whole
wow.
yeah.
God, and they're just the tiniest things that must really keep people working there as well. Like they kind of get that, don't they? Like the tiniest little things that if you have children, they must be so curious about what it is like to work there. So here's, we'll put on a bus and show you around, and yeah, they make your dreams come true. I
Yeah.
love that.
And it is the vision, I would say the mission of the Lego group is to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow, and they are the
Yeah,
builders of tomorrow's world, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, What specific support mechanisms did you find most beneficial during your time on leave, and how did they contribute to your overall well-being as a parent?
I would say what was most important for me in my situation was the fact that I haven't been with the Lego group for a very long time. So I really had a personal um, need to be able to know, what's going on at work, and what new colleagues did we get during my time away. So I actually asked my manager back then to set up, some, I think it was bi-monthly, maybe check-ins with me, so that we can talk both on a personal level, but also, for me to have um, a sneak peek into, what has changed since last time we spoke, kind of cadence. And I think it's not something for all. I know a lot of parents who would prefer to, I just stay in my parenthood kind of bubble and not need to worry about anything outside of it. So I think that's a really personal preference thing. For me, it helped a lot for also coming back, the process of coming back, to make that more smooth, that transition, because I already knew, what the major changes have been, and
Mm.
whom I should have a meet and greet with, because these people joined during my leave and so on. Yeah, so that is also, I guess, a mechanism for me not to be, too overwhelmed coming
Yeah.
back, right? So that this transition is a bit more soft than if I had gone from a zero talk to, yeah, fully back to work.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, because you hadn't been at Lego very long when and you had your third child, what was your previous transition back into work like with your other children? Was that as smooth, do you think, or do you think there were challenges there as well?
I would say the first time maybe it's because it was the first kid, it was also a bit
Yeah, that as well.
tough, um, because there was this mental shift of, now you cannot, you know, uh, work overtime as much as you want, and afterwards. And back then I was also um, in consulting, as an IT consultant. So that was a slightly more difficult transition, I would say. I wouldn't say that it was because of the company's support system was not there. Maybe also I wasn't as proactively seeking it, because I didn't know
Mm.
what I would potentially need at the end of my leave. And also the timing back then, it was during COVID. So a lot of working from home was encouraged, which helped a little bit, right? Juggling the work-life balance. I would say that after COVID, and we were returning to a higher degree to the workplace, and as a consultant, to various workplaces, because we were put on project at different major companies. It was a bit tougher due to the
Mm.
traveling time as well, and the change in the shift in what is called, like, when you change between projects as well. You're not
Yeah.
solely on one, but you have several contexts you have to manage between.
Yeah, because it's always interesting to speak with people that have experienced different mat leaves at different companies and how they found them. And as you said, obviously that would have been very different when you had your first child as well, and not knowing that you could reach out. So it sounds like Lego are very open about what is available and whether or not it's your first child or your third. To just to let parents know what is available and that there is help there, and
Yeah,
lots of people to support you,
true.
is a really good thing. What advice would you give to other working parents who may be navigating similar challenges in finding a balance between their professional and personal lives?
I think first of all, for sure, get rid of this bad conscious that is in your mind, because it will
Yeah.
eventually will be a self, what is called, like, these prophecies that come true by itself, because you're thinking that way. Oh, and then those thoughts makes a negative impact basically on your presence, right? Resulting in that you cannot be 100% there where you are. So wherever you are, just focus on those around you, whether it's a work setting or at home. That is already half of the way, right, to achieve that balance. And then second advice would definitely be to reach out for support or help, or just somebody to air concerns and whatever thoughts you might have as a parent. It's most likely you will find resonance, and most likely you will find someone who is willing to listen to you and actually listen to you. I think that gives a lot of comfort. Yeah.
How did you find it as well? So we've had a few ladies on here who have said, I was really nervous about telling my employer when I was pregnant, because they thought it would impact their career, and there is still that feeling nowadays that it might, in the future I might not get that promotion I wanted. Or I had a lady on here say she was so nervous about telling her employer, but actually when she came back from mat leave, she received a promotion. And it was one of the best things she'd ever done. And she was very much a loyal employee because of the way that they had supported her during mat leave. And when you mentioned earlier, when you told Lego about it, you said that your manager was very supportive and very kind of, that's amazing, like congratulations. And it wasn't seen as oh, you're going to be missing and we could really do with you here. It was more seen as good for you, and we look forward to when you come back and all the great things you'll do when you're back here. Has that always been the way for you when you had your children, or were you really nervous perhaps at first in breaking to that employer that you were pregnant?
I think then again, maybe it was because it was the first kid.
Yeah.
Those thoughts, I had a lot of those during my first pregnancy. I were very mindful of the timing of when I should break this news to them. I also luckily in my old work had a really great relationship with my immediate manager. So it was more to the wider, I guess, department, organization. I was very like, oh, maybe we should wait a little. And so I didn't want to be treated differently as someone who is, soon had to stop on this or that project. And I think here, because it's not a consulting company anymore, I feel there's a coherence in everything you do, right? There is some impact of the work that you do, which is not just taken away or shifting to something else or changing during your time away, and rather yeah, I had the most amazing send off by my colleagues at the Lego group. And also you get a personal letter from the CEO, congratulating. Now you are having, your own little build of tomorrow, and
Oh,
that
wow.
forward for you to return. Yeah, it was really, really nice.
That is
And
nice. That is really nice.
yeah, and I think these thoughts, everyone might have them to one extent or the other. I think also one thing that has changed, and which is like more macro change, is that the whole, I mean, the Danish legislation has changed. So now both partners, whether it's the one giving birth or the partner, they get the same amount of leave, or they, are how to say, they can take the same amount of leave. And if one of them do not choose to take that leave will actually disappear. So really encouraging both parents to equally share. And I think that makes a shift in the worries of, because now everyone will have these worries, and hopefully everyone don't need to have this kind of worries going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And as you say, especially if it's your first child, And then you, as you learn going along, you know, those thoughts disappear a little bit. But if it's your first child, it's almost as if the Lego group get ahead of that, and they know that you're probably going to be having those worries. So here's a letter from the CEO, almost to let you know what, it's okay, and we're really supportive of that, and you know, really enjoy that time. So yeah, that's really, really nice touch, definitely.
Yeah, really normalizing it because everyone
Yeah,
is, I mean, many people are, right, becoming parents or they are
yeah.
parents, either if their kids are, or becoming grandparents is also, a major thing in life. So,
Yeah, not something that should be worried about, but something that should be really enjoyed.
yes.
I have one last question for you. Is there anything that you wish somebody had told you before you became a first-time parent and went on maternity leave?
Mm, I think comforting words as in, don't worry, your job will still be there when you come back, um and your amazing colleagues, they will not look at you differently. They will still see, you as you, and due to your skills and personality and all the other things that you contribute with into the workplace. Um, and also, I think I could have used someone telling me that becoming a parent is a huge asset as well, and that it's like a
Yeah,
tremendous concentrated, personal development crash course in a very short amount of time. That you really, because when you look at it, parenthood is very similar to leadership, actually. It requires active listening skills, it requires a lot of coaching, it will test your patience, it will
negotiation.
help you, exactly, constant negotiations, right? Of things you never realize, wow, that's negotiable. Yes, time management. I mean, there are so many soft skills and leadership skills that um not explicitly, how do you say, there's not an explicit narrative around that. I think going into the future, I wish for workplaces and HR organizations to really look at these soft skills and parenting skills and see, okay, what can we build on top of that? I mean, this is sort of the foundational bricks for leadership, equally. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And that is lovely advice to end it on, because we're already out of time. Thank you so much, Jess, for sharing your story and your journey and your advice for our ladies. I know our community are going to find that really invaluable to hear. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It has been a pleasure from my side as well.
And to everybody listening, as always, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again next time.